So one of the new traditions at Ladera Church is that once a month we get to find out about a special part of our community. And today the special part is Matthew, and the special person is Matthew. And these are questions that Matthew knows about, but I'm going to read, and then I'm going to pass a mic to him so he can answer some.
Yeah.
So Matthew, in our scriptures this morning, we talked a lot about singing, and I know that this is a passion of yours. I've heard you sing with an a cappella group, and I was wondering if you could share with us how you started singing and what music means to you. The last verse that we heard this morning talks about nature, creation, and the earth worshiping God. And how do you see the earth worshiping God? What is your relationship with nature like?
Mm-hmm.
And caring for the earth has obviously become part of your vocational life as well. And I'd love for you to share with us about that.
Yeah. Yeah, so starting with singing, yeah, it's just something I love to do. I've always loved to do it. It's sort of something I think this is pretty natural for me. I always, I think, just sang along to songs that my parents played, listened to a lot of music, and so it's been really wonderful to have the choir and to sing with the choir after college. I did a lot of singing in college. I had an a cappella group, as you mentioned, that I was part of in college. And so it was like probably 10 hours of singing a week in college, which was a lot, an exhausting amount. But it's been really cool to sort of come out of that and be able to come back to the choir and still have an outlet for singing, because it is really something that that not only I'm passionate about, but that is very expressive thing for me. It's something that I can I'm very much in a flow state, I think, when I sing, which is a wonderful place to be. And then moving on to the environment and nature and the earth. It's funny, I was never the nature-y one in the family. My parents, and especially my sister, have a really powerful connection to nature, I think, and the outdoors. My sister is all the way in Lewiston, Maine, where she went to study environmental studies. So she's really deeply passionate about it. And I was sort of always the one like, oh my gosh, we have to go on another hike. Like, I didn't get it as much, but yeah, as the last question mentioned, I have started work at a environmental company called Climate Action Now. It's an app that we're making that basically allows people to contact their representatives, contact CEOs of businesses, anybody who has, the power to reduce emissions, and advocate for that. Which, within the first week of doing that job, it was like, oh, okay, this isn't about whether you like frolicking in the woods or not. This is about like human survival. This is about if you like breathing air, if you like drinking water, if you like living on dry land, if you like not having your house burned down. That's what this is about. That's what climate change is about. So I've really, had an awakening there, as I think many people have over the last couple of years, which is really good to see. I'm really inspired by all of the youth activism around climate. Greta Thunberg. Many of you probably know there's a conference right now going on in Glasgow, Scotland, called COP26, where sort of the Paris Conference 2.0, the world leaders are gathering to try to come up with some new, more ambitious goals for solving climate change. So yeah, that's definitely, even though it wasn't something I came to as sort of a visceral passion, it's something that has really become something that I think I need to continue to be a part of. Even, I'm not sure if how much longer I'll be doing exactly what I'm doing, but that sort of no matter what I end up doing, I want to continue working on climate change in some way.
So we have to talk about us now. So how did you end up at Ladera Community Church? What was the church like when you were growing up? I'm old enough that I knew him when he was growing up.
Yeah.
He was cute then too. Do you have favorite Ladera memories?
Yeah.
What was it like growing up here, and how did that shape your faith? And how has your faith changed over the years?
Mm-hmm.
What is your spiritual life like now?
Yeah. Yeah. So the first question, I have no idea what it was like when I first got here because I was like 2. So, but yeah, I mean, this church has always been a part of my life. And all of you folks have always been a part of my life, which is amazing. And I think that's really what it's all about for me is the community. That's what has stuck with me over the years. That's what I remember. I remember, people. I remember talking to people. I remember like talking to you folks like when I was really, really young and having amazing conversations. And so that's really what has resonated with me. As many of you probably know, theologically, I'm not as I haven't quite found a place for that in my life as much. But the reason I keep coming back here, the reason I, organizing Friday Night Live and all that is like, that is, this is a really special place for me. And I haven't met people like the people here anywhere else. I really haven't. And it's sort of something I've been thinking about, which is that even though for me personally, like theology is something I struggle with, I can see how a belief in God and a Christian framework, a spiritual framework impacts people. There's many of you know about the Sierra Service Project, which is something that we did a number of years, the youth. And I was always amazed that they could take this group of young people, of, high schoolers who are, notoriously a little, too cool for school, and put them all together. Nobody knows each other. And, within a week, it's like a family. And I was like, how do they do that? How do they break down those walls that fast? And like, it's gotta have something to do with the God thing, with the spirituality thing. I don't think you could do that. I don't think there's really a substitute for the kinds of communities, the kinds of connections that happen in spiritual communities.
You sound like a theologian to me. So this seems odd to me, but I'm going to ask it.
Yeah.
You can represent all the people your age. Where do you see people your age connecting to truth, love, and peace? And how do you see them connecting that with their faith? Where might Ladera fit into faith exploration and practice today? And what parts of Ladera's spirituality do you think is the most appealing to you beyond community?
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great question. I really like this question. I think my answer is that people of my generation really want action. They want to do something. And yeah, like it's funny in the climate work that I do, we interact with a lot of different climate folks and different organizations, and the more adult groups tend to, they want to learn about stuff. They want to, organize campaigns. They want to, do all that kind of stuff like in a Zoom meeting. And what kids want to do, what youth want to do is they want to get out there in the streets. They want to, march with signs in their hands, occupy banks, occupy the White House. That's what they want to do. And so that's really been salient to me of like, okay, because I'm by temperament more sort of non-confrontational, but the more I see of how, how youth operate and the way that they seek peace, as you say, by demanding it, by this clear sense that, there's this phrase that maybe we've heard, no justice, no peace, which is kind of alarming when you first hear it. But I think it's really something to think about, that like, how can you have real, lasting, true peace without, first fixing the deep, entrenched systemic problems that lead to inequality, that lead to injustice. Like, injustice really is the source of a lack of peace. And I think that's what a lot of younger people understand. And that's the approach they're taking, is they want to get out there and change things. And that is the route that they want to take to peace and love and hope. And so I think that kind of goes back to the question of the church. And to me, what I would really love to see, and what, to be fair, I should be more involved in creating, is seeing us be more directly active, seeing us continue the great community outreach work we're doing, and do even more, and see if we can operate on an even broader level beyond our community. See if there's national campaigns we can get involved in. See if we can, really sort of push for change in a more direct way.
A very old theologian named Karl Barth talked about speech, which is action, and action, which is speech. And he's one of my favorite theologians. I think you'd like him.
Yeah.
And let's see, we have one more, which is the fun one. What are the things that you look forward to each day? What are your hobbies, your favorite restaurants, foods, colors? What are the things you look forward to in the future, like 36 months from now? Places you want to travel, things you want to learn. You've just turned a quarter of a century. What do you think your life will look like down the road on your journey?
Yeah. So my mom and I, for my birthday this week, just got back from Disneyland, which is something that we both really enjoy and have been waiting to do throughout COVID, waiting to go back to Disneyland. And it's funny, on the way back, she asked me, like, what did you take away from this? Like, what was this like for you? And I had this really sort of strong experience of like, that this is, that there's this divide in life between like the things we have to do, like the just mechanical machinations of living, and like the things that really are joyful and really bring you to life as a person, bring your life to life. And so for a long time, I have known that I wanted to write in some capacity, to tell stories. And I've had sort of a circuitous journey there. There are times when I, have really been invested in it and really like, okay, let's do it, and writing a lot. And times when I've been really discouraged and like, oh God, I'm never gonna be able to do this. I'm not smart enough. I'm not creative enough. I'm sort of swinging back right now into the let's do it. I'm trying to write a little bit every day. But that is really sort of where I'm at, is like, I want to find a way to have a life that contributes to the experiences people have, rather than creating more technical complexity in the world, if that makes sense. I want to be on the human experience. I want to be in the human experience business in some sense. So right now, that's screenwriting is sort of what I hope that's going to look like. But so that's that. Trying trying to remember the other questions. I really, really, really like Mexican food was one of the questions. I don't think I could ever eat enough burritos. Yeah, maybe that's a good place to end it. More burritos.
Well, we could end now, but there's one more
Okay.
question. Is there anything else that you would like to share with the members of Ladera now that you have this platform?
You think? Well, Martha said it would be justice if I got a surprise question at the end, because that's what I did to Rover. So let's see. Anything else I want to share? Just that I love you all, and I'm so grateful to be a part of this community.
Well, I know that I don't get to speak for this church very often, but I can speak for this church and say, we love you too. Thank you for doing this.